Hello all and welcome to our next video on our YouTube channel, The Third Man Musings. So the last mega event we covered last month was the T20 World Cup, and the next mega event which we'll be covering is the IPL, which will be hitting our television screens in the month of April. But before that, we have a big event coming tomorrow itself, which is the mini auction, which will be held in Kochi. There are some big players up for grabs tomorrow, and when you look at the consolidated purse across the mini auction tomorrow, it's 200 crores split across the 10 teams. So you can expect some major buys tomorrow, and some teams will become stronger with these key players coming on board, and some teams might not become as strong because they might not be able to make the purchases that they expected to. So I'm excited, and let's see how the auction pans out tomorrow. Sumit, what are your thoughts on the auction tomorrow?
So yes, every IPL auction has a unique flavor, and it's very unpredictable because we know the select few players who everybody wants, but it all depends when they come out from which set in which order, and then the various auction dynamics where people will try to just raise the price and then leave the player so that they can negate the purse of their opposition. So in this auction also we know who will be the big buys based on the purses available, but I'm more excited about the Indian talent, which is scouted by each team's scouting network, wherein the base price of 20-30 lakhs, which is the minimum in IPL, these people become multi-crore players, right? So those are hidden picks, which will be a lot of fun to watch. And as we can see in this table, um, you will see a lot of bidding wars between Punjab and Sunrisers because they have the two maximum purses. So expect a lot of change there. Other top four teams are fairly settled, wherein they are just going to look to tweak the combination a bit and mainly create backups. And one team I worry for based on this table is Kolkata Knight Riders because they have the least purse and the least number of players in their squad. So good luck to them, how they manage, and hope they get some bargain buys so that they remain competitive. Otherwise, all other teams are in the 20 crore region, fairly settled lineups. So they'll be just looking to uh, tweak the combinations and maybe have play around with the keepers, have an Indian or a foreign keeper, and then based on that play an all-rounder or a specialist.
Right.
So that's the combinations I foresee in this IPL auction.
Okay, so let's move on then to the top picks. So the top picks here are basically who we expect as per our analysis. We can see the base price here, but we expect them to go way larger than their base price, and that is because of the immense value that they bring on the table, right? Most of these folks that you see here on the screen are big match players who can turn the match around within a few overs on their own and be the match winner for their respective teams. So quickly, let's discuss the batsmen and keepers whom we expect to be top picks tomorrow. Riley Russo, this guy has totally transformed, his career in the last 12 months. Has played in leagues all around the world and has made a comeback to the South African team. So expect him to make big bucks tomorrow since he's a dynamic player at the top. Kane Williamson, discarded from SRH, but you just can't discount his shrewd tactical skills and at the end of the day, a class batsman, right? So let's see which team will pick Kane Williamson tomorrow, but be rest assured that he'll be a sure shot topic tomorrow. Harry Brook, the latest new kid on the block, has revolutionized England's T20 cricket even in his short career. Some great innings in the T20 World Cup as well, and we expect him to get at least 10 crores tomorrow. So look out for Harry Brook. David Malan might be one of the underrated top buys because he's not as dynamic, but a team looking for a sheet anchor might go for him. The Indian players will be at a premium tomorrow. You can see that there are three Indians in this list. So Mayank Agarwal will again be a big one, and SRH, which is looking for a captain, might have their eyes stuck on Mayank Agarwal, and obviously a quality batsman in opening. So he'll be a big one. Nicholas Purin, again, we'll have to see which side will take the punt on him because he's gone for big bucks in the auction before but has not delivered to his potential. And then we have Phil Salt and Henrik Klassen as well, who bring that meat to the wicket keeper batsman category. So these are the players we expect. There are plenty of stars in the all rounders category. Sumit, what is your take on that?
So I think this is the top three we mentioned all rounders. Stokes, Curran, and Green will be the top three buys, which might be upset by Mayank Agarwal somewhere in the middle because he's the lone Indian batter we can see. But I expect these three to be the top three picks for tomorrow's IPL, and it only and I would have said surely Curran is the number one, but it also depends who comes out in which order and which team has
Right.
bid out. So if Curran is the first one out of the bag, I think he's going to be the most expensive. If he's third, then he might suffer. So, but for me, the top four will be between Stokes, Curran, Green, and Agarwal. After that, you have a set of all-rounders of Holder, Jameson, Sams, and Pandey. So these are going to be for your budget teams who don't have much money to spend and they cannot afford the top three all-rounders. So they'll be going for these guys and try to balance out their teams. Pacers, we have the legendary Chris Jordan. So I didn't want him here. You said he'll be bought. So let's see on that. I think he'll get bought, but
Yeah,
God knows
for
which team he
sure,
goes to
for sure. Some team will identify him as a death bowler, for
as a death
sure.
bowler.
Yeah.
God knows what
Yeah.
death will happen for that team's death overs, but we'll see. Chamira, a very good LSG pick from last year, and he was injured, so he didn't play that much. But this guy is pacey, so he might be one of the specialist fast bowlers where teams might want them even as a backup. And the spinner list is loaded with the wrist spinners, so these will be in high demand because all the offies are. You find a lot of good off spinners in Indian cricket. Even the uh, youngsters who come, they can roll an arm, but wrist spinners is a specialization. So Adil Rashid Zampa will be definitely top buys in this category. Shamsin Rahman again will be the budget buys for teams who are looking for their own wrist spinner but don't have that much money. So
Right.
those are top picks. Next, we can go to the value picks. Yeah.
Right. And now moving on to the value picks. So you must have seen how we have categorized the category of players, right? Value picks are folks who might not be very highly priced or who might not go for as much big bucks as the top picks, but they will be your ROI, right? Even though you buy them at a slightly lesser price, they'll give you great output, which will justify their selection. And also, we are also looking at those players who might have not played in IPL so far or might have played a very significant, a very less portion in the IPL and might not have had an impact, but we expect them to make an impact. So again, the Indian players we have highlighted here in blue for your ease when you see this video. In the batsman and keepers category, Travis Head is someone whom we expect will be a very good value pick. Has rediscovered his form. Even in test matches, he's batting at a very brisk pace. So in T20s, for sure, he can turn things around in the middle order. Uh, uh, Van der Dusen, we are hopeful that some team realizes his value because what we have seen is usually the Indian IPM team management don't value him as much, even though he's such a credible player. So let's see if he gets picked this time. Joe Root could be an interesting one this time. Some team might think, okay, England is playing the fearless brand of cricket, so having Joe Root in our team might. Change that mindset, right? Manish Pandey is an enigma again. Last few IPL seasons haven't been great, but again he's an Indian middle order batsman, so that has its own value. Leighton Das has come to the limelight after his innings against India, so we'll see how that goes. Another couple of interesting people here are Jagdishan and Bharat, right? Both these folks have been doing very well for their respective states of Tamil Nadu and Karnataka in the Ranji Trophy, and have displayed potential in the previous IPL editions as well. So they'll be in demand. And Sheldon Jackson also has shown potential in Ranji Trophy over the last few years. So we expect these folks in the batsmen and wicket keepers category to really be value picks tomorrow. Sumit, your take on the all rounders?
So all rounders, basically, all these will be backups, I believe, for the first line of all rounders which each team has. So these are all budget buys in a way. If you get everybody at the base price, out of this list, I would rate Sikandar Raza as a very big underdog in the sense he should get you the maximum value because he smartly priced himself lesser at 50 lakhs. But he's a brilliant player, as you saw in the World Cup. He bats, he bowls, and he's not like a normal like a batter who bowls. He's a proper bowler with his mystery spin as well. So I expect him to be doing the best amongst this group of all rounders. David Vise again should be a good backup because he bats and bowls and is an all-rounder at that critical number of 6 and 7. So others have played. Will Jacks, just because he delivered against Pakistan in Pakistan, might get a look in because he is a tonker who bowls spin, so might work. But yeah, otherwise I can barely see all of these as backups. Coming to the paces, for me again, the foreign contingent is backup paces for me, who will just be supporting in case of injuries happen to the main fast bowlers, overseas ones, like example Archer or a Hazelwood. I expect them to be backups for them. Reece Topley is an exception. I think there'll be a good bidding war for him because he's a very good death bowler as well and a new ball bowler. So he might be useful with his height and left arm bowling. Jaydev Unadkat, again, a very controversial pick in that sense, but he just took 3 wickets today on his test debut in a way after 12 years. So he performed at the right time. I think he's going to fetch good bucks tomorrow because being an experienced Indian left armor is a rare commodity. So he should do well. Shivam Ami, Vaibhav Arora, Basil Thampi, youngsters who will definitely have some kind of bidding war amongst teams because these will be the backup Indian pacers or sometimes even the main Indian pacers because we have such less depth because of the 10 teams now. We don't have many Indian pacers who will be like frontline bowlers, right? So
Right.
they will become frontline by that virtue. Lastly, the spinners, good off spinners in Shahbaz Nadeem, and actually there's only one. So, Murugan Ashwin, he's like a mystery bowler apparently when he joined, but he's not. I don't see any mystery yet. Shreyas Gopal, good leg spinner and very well pressed at 20. So these guys will get bought by teams who need an Indian spinner, and you don't want to waste a slot on a foreigner and a spinner. I know Rashid and Zampa will be sold, but other than that, I don't see much. Rehan Ahmed, because he's flavor of the month, he did very well in his debut against Pakistan, and he's 18 years old. So if a franchise wants to develop talent, that's why I think he comes into the limelight. I don't think there'll be a war for him. He should be picked up at 50 lakhs by somebody who's looking at a future with him. So that's
Mumbai
our value
Indians,
pick.
they look at players who are flavor of the month.
Yeah, they actually have a opening also. So yeah, now we will do the interesting part wherein we'll put our heads on the line and try to guess who's going for whom. And it's very easy if we start saying that okay, based on the purse, we know who's going to go for whom, but we try to identify who might be fit at that particular franchise. So let's hope the set also comes out like you expected to. So let's start with the champions, Sujay. What
Yeah.
are your picks?
Sure. So we can start off with the Gujarat Titans, who won the title last year, in their very first attempt. Gujarat Titans, if you see their squad, it's pretty well rounded, right? Even though there might not be a lot of stars, but it's just, a lot of good players come together to create a big impact. So one gap that we can see is their opening. I mean, while Gill is a good player, Saha, his career is on the wane now. So we foresee that maybe Rahane might get a spot there. So he could be a potential pick. Again, in the middle order, they lack a good Indian batsman. So maybe somebody like a Bharat or Jagdishan who can double up not only as a middle order batsman from India but also keeper, right? In case they don't go ahead with Saha. So that way, Rahane, Bharat, Jagdishan we anticipate might be on Gujarat Titans. Checklist. Other than that, they're looking for a good Indian bowler because right now they have Shami, but other than that, there's no good Indian pacer. So Mabi might be on the radar, and then Klassen, Parnell, Topley, all these guys may not be the shining stars, but earnest people, right? And
Mhm.
Gujarat Titans somehow their team's culture might be very much in alignment with these guys. So they need a good all rounder, they need a good overseas pacer as well, and they need a good backup keeper. So we see Parnell, Topley, and Klassen making the cut for Gujarat. But on the whole, a good rounded squad. But these guys could make an impact for them if they do get selected.
So yeah, I agree with that. I can see them going for somebody like a Topley and Klassen, players who might not be that big currently, but with the culture, we could see the magic they did with David Miller and Tewatia. So they had 5, 6, 7 of Miller, Tewatia, and Rashid, which I think is one number high for each of them, but yet they managed to pull it off. So they just need to reinforce some batting, and I think they'll be good again. So
Right.
coming to Mumbai Indians, the surprise package of last year where they did not do well at all, and we all thought they're like late bloomers, but they never bloomed. But this year, I am saying they are going to be in the top four for sure, and I have them as favorites because one thing I noticed with Mumbai Indians last year was I think they gave up in the middle that okay, we're not going to make it, so they started investing in the youngsters. So out of that setup, I could see somebody like a Tilak Verma who's shown through. He could bat in multiple places of 3, 4, 5, 6 even. So they have a very good top six with if people are in form like Rohit Sharma. Otherwise, everybody else looks settled. So they need an all-rounder because Pollard is gone and they are still missing Krunal. So somebody who can be um, batting and bowling and finishing the game for them, like Pollard. So Holder Jameson comes to mind because they are not going to make it for the top three all-rounders. So I have thought about Holder and Jameson being ideal replacements. Topley little because they always like to play with two foreign pacers, one of them being left armor. So these two should make sense. They have Berendorf, which was a smart trade, so might be used. Might not go for more, but yeah, always good to have backup in that region because Archer is a major question mark, right? So I don't expect Archer to play 14 games. So maybe have one pacer. Chamira, same reason. Foreign pacer, extra pace might work well with Bumrah and Archer. And Mujib and Markande, basically the spinners. They have a spinner called Karthikeya, left armor, who is like a mystery spinner they discovered right at the end, who did very well. So I expect him to start with him if they want to play a 2+2 combination. Then they need another spinner. They had, I think, Ritik Shaukin, who was
Yeah,
decent, but
sure.
not that. Let's see how it does in the second season. But yeah, they might want backup in that department. So Markand is a good pick, has played for them before at 50 lakhs. And Mujib is for 1 CR. I don't think many people will go for a foreign spinner except for
Mhm.
Zampa and Rashid. So that's my take on Mumbai.
Right, and this auction, I think we should see them more active, right? Last auction, I know they were stocking up a lot for big players like Archer and
Archer,
Kishan, right? But
Kishan.
this time, with 20 crores there on the table for them, we can expect them to be much more in action this time for sure. And then let's move on to Rajasthan Royals, the finalists last year. So Rajasthan again has got a very well-rounded squad, right? They already have Butler, and then they have some really good players like Samson as well. So it's a pretty young team. There's Rian Parag who showed some glimpses last season, and they have a very good. Bowling attack as well. They have Bolt and Ashwin. There's UZ Chehel as well. So the bowling is much stronger than the batting there for Rajasthan. But if you see their squad, right, they really need a good bowling all rounder because there needs to be somebody at 7, 8 who can assist the top order and not have Ashwin at let's say 6, 7. Sometimes even at pinch hitting. Right, last time we saw him getting
Number three.
promoted for 3. So
Yeah.
they want to arrest that particular shortcoming that they had last time. So we anticipate that they might not get the tier one all rounders, which are Stokes, Green, and Curran, but they might be able to go for somebody like a Holder or somebody like a Jameson, maybe in the 5 to 6 crore category, right? So once they get that, then they can use the rest of the purse for the smaller, acquisitions. Daryl Mitchell, again, a very underrated all-rounder, but if you see, performs always in the big matches and big tournaments, and he's an earnest, hardworking guy who fits into the Rajasthan culture, Rajasthan Royals culture, right? So we anticipate Mitchell might be big time on Rajasthan Royals radar, and then Daniel Sams also, right? Again, another underrated guy, but offers good left arm swing up front with the new ball, and is a handy low order batter as well. So we don't expect anything big from Rajasthan, but that bowling all rounder will surely be a big point of contention for them. Sumit, your thoughts on Rajasthan?
I just laughed when you mentioned about Rian Parag showing flashes because I remember that flash was against RCB, if I
Right,
remember correctly. He
right.
was dropped and they scored a
Yeah,
50, the only
yeah.
50. That guy is damn lucky. Maybe I don't know why he plays every game. Or if he was that good, they should just promote him, I believe, so that he can show his talent. But he's a very good fielder. I'll give him that. At long on long, he's like an effortless catcher. But he plays every game, so they need to promote him. I think try him out more, or just
Mhm.
drop him because I don't think he adds that much value. Coming to CSK, so I guess this might be the final year for the legend, but we never know. So let's that's on the basis of that I've kind of thought like what we should have. So current definitely. So for CSK, they need to pray that current comes third in that set or probably the last in that set because by then money for Punjab and Lucknow and even Sunrisers might be lesser.
Sunrise.
So if current comes out first, I don't think he's coming to CSK. If he comes like later, 4 or 5 types, then current definitely because he's played for them and now his stock is much higher after the World Cup. So good chances for him. If not, then they might go for somebody like a Holder. Unadkat, perfect for CSK pitches. So with his uh, slow balls and variations, he might be useful. Pandey, they need an Indian batter because Ambati Raidu is pretty old. He's not playing that well in the Ranji, so they might want an Indian backup. And also to have the flexibility, just in case they don't want to open with Conway and just have Gaikwad and Pandey, so that they can play an extra foreigner in the middle. So a good option because I don't think people might. I because Pandey's played for so many teams, I've forgotten. I'll be honest. So he's not played for CSK, so they might go for him. So that way he might be cheaper. Root Williamson is a very specific pick, only keeping in mind that they might want to have a continuation plan for Dhoni. So this year they take one of these who are ideal candidates to be captain for CSK, and Williamson is very CSK like, I believe, more than Root also. But yeah,
Right.
these two won't have much of a bidding war. CSA can snap one of them and groom them to lead them in the future seasons once Dhoni finally hangs up. Broke, a brilliant middle order finisher batsman who will go very well with the axis of Jadeja, Dhoni, Chahar. So, just before that, you put Broke to finish it off. Again, will be expensive. So, they'll be hoping that he comes out much later in the set. Your opinions on
Yeah,
this?
I think the most interesting one for me is the valid point you mentioned, right? Because this could be Dhoni's last year in the IPL. So who's the backup captain that will emerge from this, right? Because the Jadeja move clearly didn't work this time around. So let's see, who it will be. As you rightly said, it could either be Root or Williamson, who can match Dhoni in that shrewd tactical thinking, right? And then we can always expect them to build a strong squad and compete. So that will be interesting. Next, let's move on to Lucknow Super Giants. Lucknow, if you see, the team is very power packed,
Well,
right? Especially the
hmm,
top order is pretty power packed, but a lot of specialists in the top order. If you see, apart from the exception of maybe Stoinis and Krunal, but then there are a lot of specialists, especially like Rahul and Decock and Badoni, players like that, right? So Green or Curran. Now, if let's say there is a big war for Stokes and Stokes takes the cake of the purse for various teams, then Lucknow Super Giants have the third largest purse, so they could come
hmm,
in
hmm,
big time and maybe take
or
a
the
big
third
shot at
person.
Green or Curran. One of them, obviously not both of them, but one of them. And the other interesting thing you see is in terms of express space, they just have Mark Wood. Mark Wood
Hmm,
is devastating on his day, can bowl upwards of 150, but you can't expect him to play all 14
14.
games, right? So maybe Jordan, our favorite Jordan, might
I
be
don't know.
considered as a death bowler there,
Yeah.
just as a backup for his countryman Mark Wood, if Mark Wood doesn't play all the games. So Jordan could fit in there. Another interesting option, if they don't want to go for Jordan, is Matt Henry from New Zealand. Again, express pace, both upwards of 150 clicks, and they could even consider Topley for the left arm angle, right? But other than that, I think Lucknow is pretty much sorted. Good batting order, good all rounders, a good spinner in Bishnoi as well, and good Indian paces. Avesh Khan, Mohsin Khan, and bowlers like that. It's this overseas all-rounder and overseas bowler which could make them complete and more competitive. Any thoughts on that, Sumit?
Just one thing, if they get Jordan and Rahul makes Jordan perform, then I think we can say that Rahul is a good captain, and then you don't need to be worried about the Indian cricket team. So if Rahul can get a performance out of Jordan,
Yeah,
so this
then he
guy,
can get it of anyone.
everyone. So that is the only silver line I can see if Jordan goes. It'll test Rahul's captaincy credentials for India as well. So then I'm okay with him going to LSG. So coming to the next one, Sunrise Hyderabad. So they are going to be the major movers in this IPL auction. I really think they will go for Stokes, like hell for leather, because with the whole Bazball which came into picture and how he's led them against Pakistan, SRH is a team which needs a new identity to be all aggressive and out there. So Stokes is the perfect guy, and they can go up to 16, 17, 18 CR also for this guy because he'll get you a captain and he'll get you fearless attitude in the whole team. So that's what Sunrisers want after last season. So they should go for him. That's why I've just put him there, and in no other team we thought he should go because even Punjab will go for him logically. But let's see because they have more purse. Our guess is that Sunrisers will be taking Stokes. Zampa Rashid, they need a. So the good thing about Sunrisers is they have a very heavy pace bowling Indian contingent, so they don't need to worry about a foreign pacer. Probably have one for backup purposes if they want to change the combination. So they have the liberty to take a wrist spinner. That's why Zampa or Rashid, definitely one of them should go to Sunrisers. Mayank is a, again, they have the money, and always having a top Indian batter as an opener will give them a lot of options. So if you have Mayank and Abhishek opening, and then you have three Tripathi. So you have three very good Indians at the top. And then you can stock up with your Stokes, Markram, and possibly Green or Curran. If they get two out of these three, then it'll be wonderful for them. So Mayank will be a good addition to give them flexibility in the middle. And Jagdishan and Bharat. So keeper wise, they let go of Puran. So getting these two, their base price is 20 lakhs. So they will win the bidding wars unless they're left with no money. But getting a Jagdish and Bharat would really help them at a less price. Russo. a left field choice in case they want to partner Abhishek with a gun opener. So Russo is a good option. 2 CR, let's see what bidding war, because most teams have the top three covered. So I don't expect much war, a bidding war for Russo, because he might be a good backup. So maybe they get him on the cheap. Brooks again will be a coveted option. If they want to just have Stokes and Brook in the middle, have the England base, so they might go for him also. So they have a decent base with Sundar and the Indian fast bowlers and Tripathi, who needs a good IPL to get into the Indian scheme of things. So they have a good base of 4 or 5 players. They have Markram, very good player. Phillips, who had a wonderful World Cup. So if they make they 5 buys, 42 crores, 8 crores per person on average, they can actually make a very good team. So it's a golden chance for them to create a new identity.
Yeah, the
What do you
amount of
think?
money they have, they can actually buy all the players that are the potential picks there, right? So, yeah, they can make a complete squad. Totally agree with you on that. Then let's go to our home team, Royal Challengers Bangalore.
Not
Isala
mine this
Cup
time.
Namde for sure.
I'll be supporting Mumbai this time. I'm openly saying I'm not supporting
Oh,
RCB,
is
so you
it?
can do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So
no,
finally,
no more
after
RCB pain.
15 years of heartbreak. Okay. So Sumit has decided to move on, but I'll probably still continue to support RCB. RCB, if you see their squad, the starting 11 is more or less fixed, right? Good top order, good decent bowling attack. I wouldn't say a top bowling attack, but a decent bowling attack. One spot that is open is the number 5 slot, right? Last time we tried Prabhu Desai, then we tried Mahipal
Lomror.
Lomror as well.
Mm,
Somehow, even though they did show some signs, but then there was not enough consistency. So when both of us actually had a discussion, we felt Bharat could make a comeback here, and Bharat has had some fond memories with
mm,
RCB. You would remember hitting that last ball six, right, which won a game for RCB. So he might make a comeback. Plus, you could groom him as a future keeper in place of Karthik, right? Because even Karthik, considering
correct.
he's at 37, 38, might not continue for a long time. So Bharat, we see, could be a very strong pick here. And even if we get him for 2-3 crores, it might still be worth it. Again, this time we need to consider the matches for Bangalore. Most of them will be played in the Chinnaswamy, right? So short boundaries, you need somebody who bowls the heavy ball, express pace,
Mm,
right? So that you can get those wickets. So again, Matt Henry and Kyle Jamison will both come into the radar. Jamison maybe even more so because again he's an ex-Bangalore boy, right? He's played for RCB before, so one of those two could make the cut. Again, on the Indian bowling front, we have Siraj and Herschel, but we have seen that both can get hit for runs, and then the backup isn't great, right? Let's be honest. Whether it be Akash Deep or whether it be Siddharth Kaul, they just don't make the cut at this level. So it might be an interesting gamble to go for Basil Thampi, who can nail those Yorkers, right? So we figure he could have an outside chance. And then Gopal again is somebody who's played well for Karnataka and Ranji, and is a good leg spinner, has a good googly as well. And just in case Hasaranga is not available, or if they want to try out an Indian spinner, Gopal could come into the mix. So these are players whom we reckon could be in the mix for Bangalore tomorrow. Sumit, your thoughts as an ex-RCB fan?
I just fear for them in the sense they're very fixated with their 4 foreign slots, because
Hmm.
one of them is a captain, which will always give you the lack of flexibility. Faf has retired, so let's see how he turns up. So that will be one question. He was brilliant last season, but let's see this season how he does. Maxwell is a major question mark for me as always, because if he's going to perform in only 2 3 matches in 14, it's not worth the price. So they should look at some all rounder. I know the best, as per me, the best choice would be somebody like a Raza, but based on our experience of RCB think tank, I don't think they'll go for him. I'll be pleasantly surprised because he's a perfect like for Maxwell, a way better bowler. Probably not a dynamic batsman, but a more consistent batsman. So that is a problem. Hasaranga, I think he's decent. I mean, he'll get hit, but he'll take you wickets, and Hazelwood is quality. So the lack of flexibility in moving the players will be one of the challenges with the captain as being a foreigner. So that's
Right.
a problem I see. And with
Yeah,
the less
even
budget,
Allen might not make it in the starting 11, right?
yeah,
Considering the World Cup he had, even he is not assured of a spot
and the
in that
problem is,
11.
even if you play Allen and Faf opening, so Virat comes at 3, so Patidar goes to 4, which is not his
Mm-hmm.
number. And you
Mm,
can't put Kohli at 4, right? So
yeah,
you will struggle in case of playing both at the top with the 2 foreign openers. So they need to be mindful and
right.
have backups in place and make the call early. I mean, normally they make a call after 8, 9 games.
Yeah,
So
when
they
when
need
the
to,
deed is done.
so then
Yeah,
they think of next auction how to go.
yeah.
So let's see. They have less wiggle room, so will be very tough. Mike Hessen will be putting up some videos on YouTube on option strategies. So let's see how much of it was true, because
Yeah,
he needs to make very good buys and be lucky also. I think the sets need to work out for him to get some good players.
true.
Next up is KKR. Not much to talk here because very less money. Their first 11 is pretty established. They need a backup for Russell for sure, based on last season performance. That's where Shanaka and Vize come into picture. They're cheap buys and traditionally not bought by anyone. So our reckoning is they get they might get a good deal out of these two all-rounders as a backup for Russell. Raza very underrated, and possibly after T20 World Cup heroics, he other teams will go for him. If they go for him, then they are not catching him. But our assumption is again people might just ignore him as usual. So
Mm.
Kolkata should make use of it because he's a much better player than Shakib, right? Well, they keep going for Shakib. They should go for this guy who's again a spinner and a very handy bat. Bharat is because they don't have a keeper as of today. So last auction they kept the keeper decision till the last moment. So getting an Indian keeper is very important because they don't have slots for a foreign keeper. So they need to go for a cheap Indian keeper. They have Sheldon Jackson in case they want to go back to him, but they should try for Bharat, who's a better like future-oriented keeper for them. Travis Head is a left field buy because he's going to come very late in the sets and he's in sparkling form. His base price is 2 CR, but I think by the time he comes, most purses will not have that much ability to get him at 2 CR or might not find value. So they can have a very good. He's a keeper. He can open. He can play in the middle. So very good foreign international you can get for cut price. So they need to pray honestly in this auction for things to work out for them and for other teams to also mess up for them to make a decent side because their backups they don't have backups and whatever they have in the first 11 is also not that great because Russell Narayan legends but aging legends, right?
Yeah, they've lost
So
Cummins also, right? So,
yes,
yeah.
so I think they'll struggle, but yeah, let's hope they can muster up some good local buys. So, yeah.
Right. And moving on to Delhi Capitals. Delhi Capitals again did decently last time, although they would have loved to make it to the playoffs, just missed the playoffs and ended up on fifth. But again, the team is very good, right? Warner, Marsh, Prithvi Shaw up top, Pant, in the middle order with Axel and Powell. So they have the firepower, but what they miss is, let's say Warner and March, right? Again, great players on their day, but recently both of them have hit a little bit of a rough patch. So maybe they might look at a backup foreign batsman. That's where Russo comes into the picture in the great form that he's been in. So they might look at a backup batsman for these stars. And other than that, they don't have a good Indian batsman in the middle order. So maybe Pandey, even though last few seasons he's not really set the world on fire, but then who knows, he's never played for Delhi, I think. So that way he could find a new team and score some runs here, and the pressure will not be on him because there are other stars around him, so he can play his own game and hold that innings together. Again, they need a good lower order all-rounder as
Yeah.
well, right? Akshar is batting at 7 right now, but definitely Delhi would hope that if he comes at 8, it's much more solidity to the lower order. So maybe again a tier 2 all-rounder like Holder could come into the mix here. Holder, I think, is on the spectrum of
Everybody
many teams tomorrow. So he
who
could
don't have
find
money.
his home in Delhi as well. Don't be surprised. And they need a good Indian pace bowler because they have good spinners in Kuldeep Yadav and Akshar, but a good young Indian pacer in Mavi could do wonders for them. This would maybe make the Delhi side much more complete and competitive for the playoffs. Sumit, your thoughts on Delhi?
So Holder becomes important because last year they had Shardul at 8 to
Right.
support the batting. So they will try for somebody like a like for like. So Holder fits that category. And the Delhi Capitals owner is brilliant. Last auction, he ruined a lot of
He was the
purses.
star of the auction.
Yeah, loved his bidding because he actually did a proper auction where he knew players he did not want. He kept digging the price up to burn others' purses. So I would love. It would be very entertaining to see him tomorrow as well because this is a lot of money for him and he can play around and really make other teams suffer by just bidding randomly and raising the price because he knows other teams want which player, right? So
Mm.
he'll try to do that, and I think he'll get a good deal because last auction they had the best auction. They got a very great. This team has the best Indian base in the entire IPL, I believe. wherein they actually don't play four foreigners most of the times. So they're that confident. So with the less budget, I expect them to do magic, and let's see how it goes. And coming to the last team, Punjab Kings, again the very team. I don't think. They came into the top four, I think, initially, right? When we started the IPL, I remember. After that,
Yeah,
they've never
yeah,
been there. They keep
yeah.
breaking the
Hardly a
team
couple of,
every.
couple of seasons. Yeah.
So they break the team every season. Last season, though, they showed glimpses of a new approach which worked with very good aggressive players. So this year, I think they have done smartly and let go of players who are not fitting the DNA. Mayank Agarwal might be a surprise for people, but I think it was a very smart move because he was for 14 crores. So they got 14 crores out of Mayank Agarwal. They might try to buy him back, but they might get him cheaper or they might not even need him because they have Besto to open with Dhawan and they have Livingston. So they might try to make an England core. They will also go for Stokes. Again, it depends if Curran goes to Sunrisers, then I expect Punjab to get Stokes. So then they might try to make an entire England baseball type setup with Besto, Livingston, Stokes, and so Curran Green again. These three will be moving around. If one team manages two of them, they will be like the best placed in the auction.
Right.
And Mavi again, Indian pacer, who will be very useful for them because they have Arshdeep. So they need a good Indian pacer to support Arshdeep and Rabada. Chair is the lone spinner, so they have Harpreet Dar, a left armer, who's a good backup spinner. But they need somebody at seven because Shah Rukh Khan bats at 6 or 7, but he's not performed so well since that heavy price tag. So I was surprised they retain him. I thought they will just let him go and try to buy him back because he was for 9 crores. So that would have given them actually 41 crores and compete with SRH. So
Right.
Pandey, one of those Indian batters they might want so that they can play more adventurous foreign batsmen in the middle order. Just keep him at 3 as a buffer. And Thampi again, death bowler and lack of options. And rest, Punjab scouting network traditionally does not work. So they believe in just taking ready-made players. That's why they need to get the big players because the scouting is not so good. That was Mumbai has always done very well. So let's see which surprises come.
Right,
Any thoughts
and
on
maybe
Punjab?
the fans of SRH and
Hmm. Punjab.
SRH in the other team Punjab, right?
Hmm.
These two will have a field day tomorrow because they have all the big bucks, and maybe fans of RCB and Kolkata might
Get
have a
bored.
quiet day. But it's important to use the money wisely, right? Even if you have
Hmm.
all the money in the world, we have seen before, not the greatest buys happen. Sometimes it's teams which have the lesser money which make the more effective buys. So it will be a very interesting auction tomorrow. Do remember to tune in. It's at 2:30 in the afternoon tomorrow. So do watch the auction, and after that do catch in
One.
our post auction analysis video as well, and let's see how much we got right, and do
Hmm.
share in your thoughts, and we look forward to your comments on how this video was. Sumit, anything that you wanted to add before we?
Yeah, yeah. So the one thing important thing we probably should have discussed early is the impact player rule which has come into the IPL.
Right.
So what this just explain very briefly what it is about. It's about just having so whenever at the toss you'll have a playing 11 plus you'll have four players listed as your substitutes. These four will only be Indians. That's a good thing. So you are not going to see a lot of foreigners unnecessarily coming into the mix unless the playing 11 has less than four foreigners. So you can play four Indians, and I think logically it will be two batters and two bowlers. So it is better than the super sub rule we had ages back, wherein it was toss dependent. Here, every team will basically have extra batsmen, extra bowlers in hand. So the good thing is you can have a new ball bowler bowl out his overs, you get him substituted and get a death over specialist. And now, if the scouting team, tries to use this wisely, you will always have more quality in the sense you're going to have always seven batters against five bowlers in most of the matches now with this
Right.
rule. So that fifth bowler weakling that teams explore and try to get 60 or 4, that will not happen in this IPL, I believe, if this rule is used properly. So expect a lot of specialist Indian buys tomorrow because foreigners won't make the cut for this four people player rule, right? So that is one interesting dynamic which gets thrown into this. So there will be some specialists who will hear about tomorrow who may become croropatis, and we'll get to know that maybe this is like a lower order slogger or a specialist death bowler or especially new ball bowler. We'll see such people now in IPL. So good. way to change things around in a
Yeah,
long IPL. It's
yeah.
two and a half
Although
months, so
tactically it makes things a lot interesting, but I'm a bit saddened that the role of the specialist all-rounder gets a bit reduced, right? I
yes.
mean the focus goes from all-rounders to specialists then, so that makes me a bit sad. But who knows? This could spice things up, and if it becomes a
Mm,
success in the IPL, as you said, it could even move to international cricket. So we'll see how
correct.
that pans out.
Sure.
So that is a wrap from our end, folks. Let's see how the auction goes tomorrow. I'm very excited, and I'm sure you are too. Please do catch our post auction analysis video tomorrow. And until then, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Bye. Good night.